Hey guys, so I'm recording a intro here. I want you to hang around towards the end of the video. We'll go through. We'll do. That's when all the Q&A is for comments, people asking questions. So I trimmed the video. We're down about 27 minutes. Probably the last 10 minutes or so are answering your questions that I get in the comments. So yeah, stick around to the end of this. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday, February the 26th. Yes, February the 26th. Been a week since we've done some news, so let's get into some news. And I figured I'd answer some viewers' questions while I was doing this. Good way to actually just get in there and answer some questions. So let me make myself a little bit smaller here. Get right out of the way. There we go. So as always, we'll start with coronavirus news in Vermont. Live updates from Vermont Digger. Right now, people 65 and older can register for COVID vaccines at Walgreens starting today. That was yesterday, February the 25th. So under the program, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has partnered with local pharmacies to administer the vaccine. Vermonters age 65 and older can register online at walgreens.com. Schedule vaccine. So if you're over 65 and you want to get the coronavirus, the COVID vaccine, head to walgreens.com, schedule vaccine, or they have a 1-800 number you can call as well. No walk-ins, appointments Thursday through the weekend. And then starting Monday, March 1st, Vermonters will also have the option to register for a vaccine through the Department of Health website or through Kinney Drugs, which is also offering the vaccine. The state has already inoculated healthcare workers, residents, and staff at long-term care facilities, as well as Vermonters aged 70 and over. So far, 95,000 people have received at least one dose of the vaccine. And then the good news would be the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, I think, got the emergency use authorization. So that's a single shot and 20 million doses, I think, by March, the end of March. So getting more vaccine out there into the arms of people. So the health department reported 66 new cases and 2 new deaths on Thursday. Total cases in Vermont since the beginning of the pandemic now number 14,840. Total deaths number 203. As of Thursday, 28 people were hospitalized with confirmed cases, 11 in intensive care, and 2 more were hospitalized with suspected cases. So you can see right here, we're nice decline in the cases. That's a good thing. On Wednesday, we had our 200th death and 78 new cases. But as of yesterday, 66 new cases, 2 new deaths, 14,840. And then there's a little look at the recent cases by county map. Franklin County has 195, Chittenden County, hotspot, 423 new cases in the last 14 days. Essex had 12, Grand Isle 13, Orleans County 24, Lamoille is 58. So right now the hotbed is Chittenden County, which is the most populous county in this state, so that makes sense. So on that note, let's head to this. UVM mandates twice weekly testing. So University of Vermont got in-person learning. University of Vermont is ramping up COVID-19 precautions as cases spike among students. Effective March 1st, all students will be tested twice weekly for the virus. Gary Durr, the university's vice president of operations, informed students and faculty of the new policy in an email Thursday afternoon. Currently, students are tested once a week. Students will also face harsher penalties for violating the university's coronavirus restrictions, beginning immediately. Any infringement of those rules, which reflect the state of Vermont's ban on inter-household gathering and travel, among other guidelines. I wonder what the actual guidelines are. Does it say? Alright, the university's COVID rules, right here, include requirements for masking and physical distancing in public and private spaces, participation in testing and full compliance with contact tracing, as well as adherence to state guidelines. All violations, except for the first time a student misses a required test, may warrant a suspension under the university's new sanctions. College kids, masking, I can see physical distancing in public, but private spaces? Okay. Hopefully these kids will maybe follow it, but they're college kids. Think back to when you were a youngin'. So that's a good reason a good portion of the spike in Chittenden County would probably be from here, from UVM. But most of those kids, I would say probably 99.9% of them, are not in a high-risk health group, although they can spread to teachers and other things. So there, so UVM, twice weekly testing. Okay, what else have we got? Let's talk about. According to one of our representatives, Peter Welch, Vermont may get $900 million from the American Rescue Plan. President Joe Biden announced the American Rescue Plan, $1.9 trillion. This is that pork-filled stimulus that gives not as much to the people as it should and more to special interests on both sides of the political aisle. I'm not partisan, but they're all crooks in Washington. As far as I'm concerned, they're all crooks. There needs to be term limits, and then, two terms, and then they're out. They're back to their normal lives and normal jobs, and no golden parachutes, no getting rich, no lobbyists, none of that stuff. Washington is an absolute cesspool of corruption. So Thursday, Congressman Peter Welch held a virtual briefing with local lawmakers to discuss how the federal funds will be allocated throughout Vermont. Welch estimates Vermont will get $900 million from that $1.9 trillion. If the plan is passed, state governments will get $600 million, and towns will receive $300 million, and most Vermonters would receive a $1,400 stimulus check. Welch also says there's money earmarked for vaccines, contact tracing, more unemployment benefits, and resources to help reopen schools for in-person learning. He says this latest package has much more flexibility than previous relief packages. And the House is going to vote today, and the Senate hopes to have it passed through reconciliation by March 14th. So that will pass probably right along partisan lines with the new vice president doing the tie-breaking vote. And the Vermont House approved a $79 million COVID relief bill. The Vermont House on Thursday approved a $79 million COVID-19 relief bill intended to help Vermonters and businesses harmed by the pandemic. The package includes $10 million in business grants, more than $5 million to bolster the state's mental health system, and $20 million split evenly between affordable housing and outdoor recreation infrastructure projects. It's pretty good. Legislation provides a degree of assistance to people and businesses suffering from the pandemic. Representative Mary Hooper, Democrat from Montpelier, told legislators on the virtual House floor. Hooper, who chairs the House Appropriations Committee, said the package looks to the future and begins work designed to help Vermont and Vermonters recover from the pandemic. Legislators approved the bill swiftly Thursday afternoon on a 142-4 vote with little discussion. Final House vote is expected today before it heads to the Senate. The money includes $62 million in new spending, relying on both state dollars and about $13 million left over from last year's federal coronavirus relief fund. Legislation proposes putting $15 million toward a grant program to help schools improve air quality during the pandemic. And then there's that other $900 million that we could get. Legislation approved Thursday would free up $10 million to help struggling businesses that have not yet received aid from the state or federal governments through the COVID-19 crisis. Many of the businesses that would qualify for this aid were brand new when the pandemic hit. Didn't have the background financials to apply for assistance last year. So yeah, that's if the government had to tell the business to shut down and the business can't make any money, then the government should be subsidizing those businesses, because it's not the fault of the business that they had to shut down because the state told them to shut down. So same thing with unemployment and people losing their jobs. The government told people they could not work. You have to stay at home. You cannot work. And if you're a small business, you had to lay your people off because you can't afford to pay them, because Congress can't get their heads out of their asses and get the money to the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, that was filled with a ton of corruptions and other bullshit. That's where that money should be going, is to the small businesses and the people who were affected by layoffs through no fault of their own, because Uncle Sam decided that you couldn't work and that you couldn't have your business open. So give them the money instead of all their little pork-filled projects. But Washington sucks. That's my feelings on it. Washington sucks. Democrat, Republican, they're all crooks. Term limits, people. Term limits. Alright, so if legislation becomes law, state officials would look at the business's tax returns to verify that they lost money during the pandemic. I think we all know and realize, especially in the hospitality sector, that it won't be hard, it won't be difficult to understand that there were some pretty heavy losses in those businesses. Let's see. Other elements of the bill: $10 million for the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board, $10 million to improve recreational trail networks and develop infrastructure for the state's outdoor recreation industry, which is actually really good because everybody has been doing a ton of outdoor stuff. Campers are really hot right now as far as being sold, boats, outdoor recreation equipment, bicycles, all that stuff, which is good. Maybe it will help with the health of the population, because people, you can't travel, so you go outside and do stuff. Alright, what else we got? The money for the Housing and Conservation Board would be used in part to provide affordable housing for Vermonters experiencing homelessness, at risk of becoming homeless, or who have suffered economic harm due to the COVID-19 crisis. Shovel ready, blah, blah. $850,000 to help mental health providers hire additional case managers, especially with kids. There is a mental health crisis in this country right now because of schools not being open. $4 million for the Department of Mental Health to expand its community housing supports for people facing mental health issues. $20 million in state funding to help address the state's pension liabilities and prepay what Vermont will owe in the coming years to cover state employee benefits. That decision came after a recent projection by State Treasurer Beth Pierce that the pension system's unfunded liability will grow by about $600 million. The legislature, the state officials are still working on a plan to address the pension issue this year, but Hooper said that lawmakers want to set money aside now as a signal for Wall Street. What else we got? $700,000 each for the Association of Africans Living in Vermont and the Vermont Refugee Resettlement Program to access pandemic-related translation services and access benefit and workforce development programs. $134,000 to the Vermont Department of Health to collect and analyze demographic data about Vermont residents who experience health disparities. $1.3 million for Reach Up program, state assistance for children and families in need to provide additional one-time payments for families, and then $1.4 million for the Vermont Food Bank. That's good. That is good. One thing I will say about Vermont is, although we do have our issues and political differences, the governor and the legislature are pretty good about taking care of people in Vermont. I mean, there's always going to be political differences between left and right. Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, whatever. There's always going to be political differences, but as long as the people are pretty well taken care of, then it's good. It's good. So yeah, they're doing pretty good. So what else we got? We got that one. Help for Vermonters struggling to pay utility bills. Here we are. From WCAX, Channel 3 News. Help for Vermonters struggling to pay utility bills during the pandemic. What do we got here? Between August and December, thousands of Vermonters struggling to pay utility bills got some much needed help. So with August and December, so had they extended or done another stimulus package, had they given money to the businesses and the people that the government told they could not work, had they replaced their income instead of playing games, then a lot of this would have been avoided. But common sense is something that is not prevalent in politics. Okay, wow. On a bit of a rant about politics this morning. It just irritates the hell out of me. Okay, the Vermont Public Service Department distributed $8.5 million in federal money to about 11,000 customers. These grants covered arrears in water, wastewater, natural gas, and landline telephone service. Electricity companies saw most of the support. Still, due to the pandemic, Vermonters owe utility companies 4 times more money this year than last year. What we're hearing for customers, what we're hearing from our customers is that they're having to make some tough choices, said Kristen Kelly of Green Mountain Power. They're asking some really tough questions. How do I put food on the table? How do I pay for housing? And how do I pay for heat? So Kelly says, no surprise, many Vermont households are putting utility payments on the back burner. We have never seen numbers like this before. 10% of Green Mountain Power are behind at least 2 months on bills. Under the Vermont COVID-19 Arrearage Assistance Program, or VCAAP, About 3% of GMP customers receive $5.9 million in grants. But they say the support wasn't enough. Numbers continue to grow. Vermont Electric Co-op is facing the same struggle. So they're about $250,000 of arrearages to date for Vermont Electric Company. Vermont is receiving nearly $13 million in federal relief funds to help get low-income renters who are behind on their utilities bills back on track. Money is through the Emergency and Rental Assistance Program. That's good. So hopefully they can get that money to the utilities and get those arrearages that people couldn't pay their electric bills because the government told them they couldn't work. Vermont lawmakers set to tweak cannabis marketplace laws. So, marijuana, Mary Jane, the weed, it is legal in Vermont. You can smoke marijuana. You can grow marijuana. You cannot buy marijuana. So that's what they're working on with this law. What do we got here? The Vermont legislature is looking to tweak elements of its signature tax and regulate cannabis law passed last year. Calvin Cutler reported, before the law kicks in next year, advocates are pushing for more changes aimed at agricultural and racial equity. So Governor Phil Scott let marijuana sales become law without his signature last year, saying the bill needed more work in the areas of education, prevention, and racial justice. Since then, the state has been slow to set up the system, with the governor still needing to appoint members of the Cannabis Control Board. Lawmakers chalked up to the pandemic. New bill would add low-interest loans for marginalized communities to set up shops, and clarification on towns being able to opt in for retail sales. Members of Vermont's agricultural community also say the current law shuts out small growers. There has not been an opportunity for cultivators, growers, farmers to have their voices heard on this issue. Some groups say the current law also falls short on racial justice, while it creates carve-outs for minority Vermonters to try to address the disproportionate harm from the war on drugs. The Racial Justice Alliance's Mark Hughes says more needs to be done. We're down the road, we've got it out of the gate, so now what we're going to, So now what we're doing is in-flight plane construction, and we're hoping to be able to get retrofitted with some additional language, he said. That includes a new fund to set aside money for Vermonters of color to get involved in the budding industry. Haha, budding? I see what they did there. That's cute. Lawmakers say some of these changes would conflict with the original intent of the bill, which set aside money for police training and substance use education. With or without these changes, 27 towns next week will vote on town meeting day on whether to opt into the retail market. And once the governor chooses who's on the Cannabis Control Board and everything else goes according to plan, Vermonters may see cannabis hit store shelves as soon as October 2022. So, working on getting it and being legal to buy and sell through dispensaries, I'm sure, and tax it. But yeah, if you want to smoke marijuana, it's legal in Vermont. What else have we got? 9 million. That was it. I think that is kind of it for the headlines, for the news. You guys want to look at the weather? Okay, let's look at the weather. What do we got? What have we got here? Channel 3, your max advantage forecast. South Burlington, Vermont, currently 19 degrees Fahrenheit, -7 Celsius. What's the 10-day forecast? What are we looking at? Oh, look at those temperatures in the 40s. Oh, beautiful. That is t-shirt and short weather. 33, 42, 44, 41, ooh, 22. So we got some nice 40-degree weather coming. Cloudy, partly cloudy, partly cloudy. Boy, if it was like in the 40s and sunny. I mean, today 33, mostly sunny. That'll be nice. But yeah, nice. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Warming trend. Springs are coming. Okay, so now let's get to some channel comments. Let's see if I can answer some questions from you guys. So here we go. Scott Parsons. I appreciate that you watched the video. Exit 7, yeah. Between Bethel and Berlin. Come up from the south, getting on Bethel Ramp, Berlin, Marshfield. Oh yeah, yep. Up in the summer months, so you do that snowbird thing. Maybe, or you just come up to visit, but hey, nice. Good for you. Appreciate you watching. Alright, stuck in the current field. I did answer you, but yeah, it's milk is expensive. You would think that the amount of dairy that we do have in Vermont, I always thought that stuff should be less expensive, but no, that's our normal pricing. $5.09 for milk. Yeah, yep, $2.28 a gallon where you live. Nice.
All right, Roberta. Yes, the whale's tails. They're in Williston. They're also building, I believe, there's a huge new Keurig Dr. Pepper plant that's being built right there in that big field. But yeah, nice at that. And Gaines, Cali is the best state by far. Yeah, let's agree to disagree on that one. Nope. I'm still waiting for it to fall off right into the Pacific Ocean, just separate a little bit, can become its own little state or its own little country. Man of a Goodwill wants me to react to the Lady of Heaven trailer. Okay, we'll do that next week. I've never heard of it, and I won't look it up, and we'll do that, you know, what my reaction is right off top. Loony by Nature, what do we got there? It is expensive, salaries are low. In my video of Is Living in Vermont Affordable? It is expensive, salaries are very low, necessities are very expensive, it's affordable if you lived elsewhere, paid off your expensive home there, and can move to Vermont, buy a less expensive home with no mortgage. Well, if you can do that, regardless of where you're going to go, it's going to be, you know, more affordable. So, but yeah, I kind of agree. I think Vermont's expensive based on salaries and cost of living. I do think Vermont is expensive, so I'm right there with you, Loony by Nature. Scott, once again, on my Living in Vermont, a visit to Martone's Deli. I ride out towards St. Jay on Route 2, Marshfield Village store in Marshfield. I may have to take a road trip one of these days. Go check that out. I love me a good sandwich. And then on my Living in Vermont types of costs, FYI, from Andario, I'm not going to butcher your last name, FYI, Mbps, megabytes per second, Mbps, megabytes. Oh, megabytes. Why can't they just standardize it and make it easy for, you know, someone like me, just a normal guy? I don't know, I'm not a techie. Yeah. RV, Legal Eagle and Pause. The prices at that deli are almost as bad as New York City. Yeah, it is that Martone's Deli. Yeah, that is. So let me, I actually had a comment from somebody on that video that wasn't very nice. At least that's the way I took it. And it wasn't very nice. Wasn't very nice. What do we got here? I'm gonna show all my comments. Right here, John Stewart. Yeah, you absolutely need that big sandwich. And I responded to him, bless your heart. Thanks for commenting and watching. Wow, John Stewart. Dude, you sound a little bitter with that. I don't know, maybe I'm taking it wrong, but yeah, why you gotta be mean? Be nice. Alright, Sue Kelly was Living in Vermont types of costs. You know, happy to help, but you're welcome, Sue. Somebody had a question about my getting stuck. Where is it? Let me find that one. It was Roberta. Roberta asked me a question about the van, and yes, I do have front wheel drive, Roberta, and I studied snow tires on my van. Let me find your comment on my phone. Be a little bit faster than on the computer. Dooby dooby doo. Doo 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 doo. Sue Kelly. This was on my Vermont Housing How Expensive Is It video. Commented, just found my channel a few weeks ago. Enjoy my hands-on, straight up, no nonsense perspective. It's quite refreshing. Looking to relocate from Albuquerque, New Mexico to Bennington. Senior citizens have been researching moving for 4 years. Are there many seniors in Vermont? Yes and no would be my answer. Seniors in Vermont would be more during the summer than during the winter. We have a fairly large snowbird population. There is, but a lot of people are moving. A lot of the older generation, well, as you said, the stats and the research, the polls are back and forth. I would say there's not a lot of senior communities in Vermont like there are down south, but we do have a fair amount of seniors. I don't know if that really answers your question. Is Bennington a good fit? I don't know much about Bennington because that is on the complete opposite end of the state from where I am. I'm located in northern Vermont. Bennington is by car, because there's no interstate that gets there. That would be, let's see, Bennington would be like 3.5 hour drive, and it's like right down Route 7, but it's slow going. So I have no idea. You're close to Massachusetts, which is a good thing. Your husband's a veteran. Vermont, if he, depending on his status, all that, if he's disabled or not, all that stuff, Vermont does have some pretty good veteran benefits for veterans. Veteran benefits for veterans. There we go. Me know English this morning. Very good. Okay. Alright, what do we got? Brad 1237202. Hey Kevin, the wife and I are looking to stay at in bed and breakfast in southern or central Vermont in April for some R&R. Any suggestions? You know what, I don't have any suggestions. Southern or central Vermont is just really not my area of expertise. But as I said before, I'll do some research and get back to you. I'll look up some bed and breakfast in that area. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know if you're what particular area you're thinking of, and then I can do a little bit of research for you. What else we got here? PJB 2773 on my snowstorm coming and living in Vermont. I did that one like last year. Yeah. I'm not sure why you were shoveling the grass, but I love the shovel. I've never seen one like it. Yeah, I love it. It's a good it's, you know, it's a pusher, not like so much a shovel. And the reason I do so far out onto the lawn is it just gives me room to continue to move the snow when we get those big huge dumpings of snow, which, thank God, knock on wood, we have not had a huge dumping this year, and I hope we don't. I do have a snow thrower that I've gotten out a couple times. Just makes things easier, especially if we have a big heavy snow, but I like using that little pusher because it actually gives me a workout, a little bit of exercise. Oh, pardon me. And then William Stratton want to know about Rutland. Was it William who was asking about that? Hang on, let me find this. Yes. Wants to know about the St. Johnsbury area. William Stratton, I will be looking that up next week. We'll do some areas. We'll look into St. Johnsbury specifically for you. So I'm up to 136 subscribers. Thank you all very much. I appreciate that. And if you could, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are, any questions. And then maybe once a week we'll do a Q&A. You ask a question in a comment, and I will go through and answer them in a video. A little bit of a nice little interaction between me and you. Watching you watch me. How's that? All right, that's enough goofiness for today. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much. Be good to each other. Remember, somebody loves you.